It's been a while and I'm back now. This here is the latest version of Chessbase. This here is Chessbase 18. Now, what I think they've done in this version before we get in and show you the new features is make this much more usable, for the end user to be able to dig through. For example, if you look at the bottom of my screen, I have over 11 million games. How much time do I have to sift through these games to find games that suit my style, the games that I might want to teach somebody with, games that might want to inspire me? Well, they've added some features, and we're about to talk about them in a few moments, that does just that. But before I move on, I want to say Chess and Tech has made a video on just a primer on Chessbase 18. I'd recommend checking it out. I mean, it's all the basic functionality. I have talked about this in the past with Chessbase 17. However, it was more in a piecemeal fashion, but I think he does a very good job at putting it straight to the point, very concise and very informative. Um, Also, I recommend watching Chessbase India's video where he interviewed the author of Chessbase, or the primary author, if you will. And well, you're very informative there as well. But here we're going to dive into some of these features, and I'm going to show you what newness has came to the board and how you can take advantage of it. But before we move on again to those features, I'm going to just show you a few things on this screen here. Now, if you look at my theme, for example, I go over here to style, I'm gonna click the drop down menu. There's 4 themes. But now if you see the icons have their own color base to the theme, like the black has like a amber colored, um, white has like a blue has like a red, and gray has like a teal colored icon. However, let me go back to black first. You can go down to choose your icon color, and you can use a color palette and pick whatever you want. So some people might like customization. I just wanted to point this out that a lot of people do like this type of stuff, and I personally like it as well. That's why I'm on the black theme, like the black theme. So there you have that. All right, another thing they've done, this is more of an ease of use feature here. If you look here, this is a new icon right here called Load Online Player. So if you click the online player, you can pick between Chess or chess.com. You can put any person's name in here and you can pull their games or specific games you want. It just makes it a lot easier. Say if you wanted to pick all Nakamura's games from say 2024, all of his just rapid games versus his or blitz games, but you didn't want to pull his bullet games from chess.com, for example, you could do that right here on the screen. So let me just show you how easy this works. So anyway, I got my name in there. I'm on Lee Chess. If I click that, it doesn't take long to download this small database of games. I must minimize this database. We're going to come back to this database here in a minute. We're going to show you one of the new features and how you can use them here as well. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the new features I think are very, very awesome. So let me go ahead and open up Mega Database 2025. Get everything in the screen here. Make this a little, let me maximize this. Well, we don't really have to maximize this to the window, but I'll do it anyway. All right. So if you go over here to the Players tab, there's these new icons here called a Style Report and the Error Report. Now, on the surface, you might think, okay, it's just another filter. It'll filter this out. It'll filter that out, yada, yada, yada. But what this does, I'm going to go ahead and look up tile because I want to show you something. What this does is add contextual meaning to something versus just giving you back some game and just giving you a very, I guess, minimalistic way, of whatever they're outputting, whatever feature you chose. So we pick tile over here in the right window here. You see this is all his games. So we just click one, and then we hit Control plus A. It'll highlight all of those games. We just click Style Report. And Style Report usually doesn't take too long on my computer. It doesn't take a long time, just maybe 20 seconds. And basically, that's because it's not playing through all the games, sort of like, well, evaluating the games. It's sort of just trying to pick out what I feel like is picking out snapshots of the game. So anyway, now let's take a look at this. Let me get this in the screen here. Wow, this is amazing, I got to say. Here's his style report. Here go Tao, and then the years he was active, his rating range, number of games, and all the games that were included: blitz, rapid, simultaneous, and long games. But just take a look at this. The score. You got all these evaluations between score, theory, decided games, tenacity, aggressiveness, risk, positional play, and in-game affinity. Now you might wonder, okay, this is very straightforward. Yes, it is. And that's exactly what this is for. This is based on numerical information. And say if you wanted to analyze your own games, because we all know analyzing your own games is one of the hardest things to do for whatever reason. I don't know why. But this will give you a good basis of what maybe or maybe not you might need to focus on. Who knows? But one thing I found striking here, we look at Tao's tenacity. He doesn't like to fight unless he's winning. It's very low. If he gets an attack, he loves it, and then if his attack doesn't work out, he'll try to fizzle out to a draw. Obviousness, aggressiveness, and risk. Positional play high and very high, and in-game affinity medium. That's very important here. Let's go down to the observations here. He has many quick draws, many quick wins. Very strong in the openings, clear opening advantage as white. Now that's very telling. Wide opening repertoire rarely. Fianchettos is white. Avoids exchanges, keeps queens on the boards. That makes sense. Really loves sacrifices. Attacks the king, and it's obvious everything here in bold is like the most prominent features here. Is an all-around player. Active piece plays black. Defends worse in games well. That is interesting. Now, if we look at this here, this right here is the theme. This is the deviation between Tal and I guess the average grandmaster here. And you can see he obviously has more sacrifices than the average GM. He's lower in calmness, which makes sense. Symmetry is much lower, yes, because he wants dynamic, active, sacrificial play. Double pawns, yes, he creates he creates chaos on the board, and this is expected. And he has the lower currents of fianchettos. So maybe he likes to put his bishop in more on the board active position so he can sacrifice it versus fianchetto and something like that. All right, so we go down to the openers here. We'll just gloss over this. This is just the openers he's played, the scores, the number of games, and then if you look at the plus, minus, and equal sign, these are the themes to these openers. But take a look at this. This is another thing. Again, this feature helps you really extract games from Chessbase. Because again, don't forget, other than preparing for another player, finding specific games that really, really appeal to you and games that are really instructive, it takes some time. But look at this. Look at all these things. We're gonna go a little slow here. They pull several games for each one of these themes, so you can do any player like this. And look at that. This right here is just a treasure trove of databases just for Tau. Pretty amazing, I thought. And I'll give you an example of what you can find here. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back up to this one thing because it's this game here I've never seen of tiles myself. Let's go back to, where is it at? Here. This game, this was under the theme Sacrifice for White, as you can see. Yeah, wait a minute. Where it is? Yeah, Sacrifice for White. Now take a look at this. Now, if we look at this, I'm going to get to this one position right here. Now, this game, by any stretch of the imagination, is not spectacular according to, the Tau standard, if you will. But what it is that you look at, you got the queen, the rook, and the knight. We've all had these pieces, but the thing what struck me here is how he formulated the attack. So now, by me pulling this game, I learned a new way to attack and can start looking for more patterns when I attack with my queen, rook, and knight, especially if there's an open file against my opponent's king. So let me show you. So here, this is all obvious. Here, he can't take. He just get his knight in a better position. Knight can't be taken because that's mate. Okay, here, he's setting up for the check on a2. Black threatens to trade off, and well, he goes check, and then knight f7 check. He's just probing. I can't remember if Tal is actually winning at this point here, but I think right now he's just probing and seeing how it goes. Okay, discover check. Rook to f7. Again, this is the beginning. This is the genesis of him taking advantage of the back rank weakness. Now, so again, Tao set up this back rank weakness by getting the opponent's king on h8. And now he's not going to give his opponent a chance to make luff. I think his opponent may have one chance and never does it. So let me see here. Okay, so he goes back. Yeah, no, he never really has a chance. Yeah, and white creates luff, check, steps up. Now he steps back to pin the king. Yeah, he could have pushed luff right here, I think. No, he could not because again, sorry, rook takes rook. So he steps back, protects his rook, and pins the knight. However, queen to e6, sacrificing the queen, again taking advantage of that back rank weakness. Queen to d8, again threatening just winning the exchange. Well, again, if he moves his queen, at least to win the exchange here. Knight to f7, check. That's a double discovered check. King to h8. Rook to f7, yet again taking advantage because again, obviously, if queen takes queen, well, there's rook to be made. Rook takes rook, and that'll be made in 2 moves. Threatening mate again, and you can't really take the rook because, well, there should be a fork on your queen, on the black's king and queen. Now it looks like, oh yes, finally he stopped the attack. He can make white trade pieces. However, rook to c7, renewing the threat of mate on g7. Rook to e7. Now watch this. It threatens mate again. Rook to g6. And when queen goes to d7, black resigns. Because take a look at this. First of all, it's 2 pieces here. 2 pieces here in front of 2 pieces here in front of 2 pieces here in front of black's pawn. So he can't even first of all, there's 2 pieces here in front of black's pawns, and he can't even push them to make luff, and nothing really can stop rook to c8 check. And again, nothing spectacular per se, but it's a new way that I now have registered and have saved this game to my personal database, so I'll know how to attack with these pieces. All right, so let's close this out. We're going to hit no. Let's close this up. So now we're going to take a look at the error report. Now this is going to be interesting. I found something quite interesting here with Gukesh. Okay. Now we go over here to Gukesh. This is all of his games here. We're going to go ahead and just sort these by the year. Yeah. So we're just going to pick all of his games from 2024. And a shortcut on how you do that is you just click the very first one, is click it one time, and it'll highlight it blue. You scroll down to the very last game in 2024. You can do any range of games like this, but this is just for 2024. You hold down Shift, and you click the last game of 2024. What it does is it highlights everything from the first game that you highlighted blue all the way to that point where you just held down Shift and clicked again. So we're going to click error report. You have a choice to do between quick and slow. In this case, obviously, we're going to do quick. Because again, if you use a lot of games, this error report can take a long time, which is good because it's actually playing through the games and evaluating the games. So, but in this case here, we're just looking at the 2024 games. We want a quick snapshot. And again, this is just for sake of illustration here. And just to show you how this works. As you can see here, I'm only doing the year 2024. And it takes a few minutes to do this. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll fast forward this part of the video and I'll come right back. All right, guys, so we're back here. We'll wrap it up here, and it's about to finish up and spit out this report. And there it is. So first of all, you can see you have a chart here, but let's just start right from the top. This is the error report for Gukesh. It's only 128 games again, so don't take this as anything, what I want to say, on face value. It gives you year, his ELO range, average ELO performance, and his average opponent. And probability of blitz games about 13%. So that'll come into play in the end. We'll talk about it in a second. Observation: bigger blunders and more complex positions. And again, if you listen to the author of Chessbase talk about this with Chessbase India, that's this chart is just really numerically showing one of the fundamental attributes of chess is that, well, the more complex the position, most people tend to make more mistakes. Now, also says he's tough in losing position, which is good. His tenacity should be high, and precise in bad position. So it's more like, well, he get in a bad position, he might start calculating harder and harder, and because he's sort of got his sort of a sixth sense that kicks in that's even stronger than his natural chess sense. So all right, so go down to this chart. Now, 2 is low complexity on the this is the x-axis, 6 is high complexity. And on the y-axis is the number of blunders. So you go by let's look, first of all, look at the blue dotted line. That is the average GM. So we can see that Gukesh trends higher than it. Again, just take this on face value because it's a small number of games. It includes blitz games. We're just doing this just for the sake of illustration here. He has a good number of blunders trending higher than the average GM per complexity, per level of complexity in the position. All right, so what does this even mean? So let's go down here. So first of all, we look at the magnitude. So really, a lot of his blunders, or what they're considering blunders, is like think about this half a pawn here, which is, again, you give up a half a pawn. I mean, yeah, it's something, but it's not anything necessarily going to be game losing per se. But we see it trends going down. And if you look in this area, what I like to look at, what I call the peace area, which is from about 250 to 350. It doesn't, he more or less aligns with typical grandmasters, overall. And doesn't really drop a piece, but this is strange that this got his uptick of over here at 5. And what my theory on that is, maybe, and it might not be just exclusive to him, is a lot of times we've all watched tournament games online. Just a very natural position. Somebody played just a normal, natural looking move, but the computer says, "Oh, that's totally wrong," and the error bar just shifts totally the other way because of some deep positional event. And most people are not going to see that. So that's probably what this is. I mean, maybe you'd had to look at the games and see. All right. So now we go down here to this chart here. It just shows his average number of blunders. So he's definitely got less blunders in a winning position, probably than average GM. So let's just take a look. But we see these at better and equal. That kind of makes sense. But let's take a look at this. At worse and losing, he makes a good number of less blunders. So again, it's just like saying, no matter their position, you could even be losing. There's always a best move. So he might, again, when he gets in these worse and losing positions, he just sort of goes into sort of a mode that just makes him calculate that much more harder for some reason because he's losing and he's trying to just salvage his game. And that's a really good trait and skill to have, particularly this world championship coming up. So, but if you think about it, let's go through the next one first, and then we'll talk about something in a second here. Now, if it goes to the number of impacts on result versus GM, he has overall lower than everybody, lower than the average GM, except for better to equal. But again, this chart here is not really that striking. You see a lot of blunders in position, like worse to loss, loses quicker. I mean, but again, he still has a significantly number of less blunders than the average GM. So again, that shows his tenacity. Now, here go the chart here. In the opening, of course, he probably plays the opening like a machine, so he doesn't even have a bar here. Middle game plays about the same. End game, he plays more blunders than the average GM. And that's interesting because say if Ding was able to create some complex middle game positions to make him have a worse position, then transform that into a winning end game, well, he might have a chance. And again, that's one, in my very next video, I'm going to actually go through a lot of analysis with Chessbase 18 on Gukesh and Ding And I got my own take on the world championship. And don't worry, that's coming real soon. I want that to be nice for you guys. So just give me a few days for that. And trust me, it's gonna be worth it. All right. So again, it's not obvious. It's so just like all the rest of the under attack and so on and so forth. He makes less blunders than the average GM. So which is again, he's a 2,800 player or nearly 2,800, if not 2,800. So makes sense. All right, so let's read this little footnotes here. Blunder elo can differ from real elo a lot if you have a low number of games, young or old players, very sharp, very calm games against much weaker or strong opponents. So again, just saying it's just has a lot of variability depending on the situation. So let's go out to the next one. The statistical fit predicts 70% of overall real ratings, but the deviation can sometimes be up to 300 points. Will not work for blitz games. I'm gonna read the last footnote and I'll make a comment. Game analysis spends only milliseconds on each move. Here there's 10.2 ply, that just meaning 5 moves for each side. So the elo of a strong player's computer is always too low. Not sure what he means by that last sentence, but what I think here is basically overall what they're saying is that you need to compare somebody against their cohort in like games. So for example, if you was going to run this error report here on Ding and you're going to run this error report here on Gukesh, you need to run that error report only on games that they played against, say, 2,700 and higher opponents in classical chess. And then you might get a much more representative of a quote unquote error report blunder elo. So that's just my take on that. All right, let's close this out and keep moving forward here. So what do we have now? Let's go back to the mega database. There's another really cool feature here that I think really, and by the way, I didn't mention in the last part with error report, but again, it shows you just how well you can make a treasure trove, take these games and get a treasure trove from them again. Although there wasn't any games displayed in that error report, they did display some nice features for you to sort of think about and how to search for games. So that's what I thought was cool about that. All right, so now go to Mega Database 2025. We right click it and go to search. Now, but if we go to advanced, they got this new tab here called strategy. Again, making it much more easier for you to cast a wide net to look for specific, structures, piece play, plans, and so on. So what they've done is just basically made this tech based. You just click a box and you're done. Just that simple. So we'll click winning sacrifice, better, and white only. But before we do, I just want to show you this. If you look at basically what I think is if you look at the maneuvers tab, this tab takes a good effort to set up correctly. And also if you do know how to set it up correctly, you can get some very precise games to the themes you're looking for. Now, if we go here to attacks, the same thing, takes a little effort to set it up, but it can be highly, highly specific and useful. I think strategy is sort of like the middle ground of those, where it just like sort of gives you some predetermined options, and it casts this wide net and it pulls you back these games. And well, when it pulls back these games, it gives you a broader range of games for you to sift through. So it makes that easy again to use this database of 11 million games as a treasure trove. All right, now we hit OK. It says searching right here. You can sometimes leave it here and it'll search, and maybe because my computer is a little bit different, it may take a few minutes for it to go. But we can also just click search right here as well, and it produce the same result. So when we do that, let me get my screen, get this back into focus here. Not focus, but just in the complete little area. So right now it's actually searching. It's not really showing the games, and but what I'll do is I'll just let it run for a couple of more seconds. It's actually if you leave it long enough, again, this is just my computer, it will populate the games over here in the search result box. But you can also click stop at any point, and whatever games it has found, it'll just populate those. So we're going to go ahead and click stop like right now. And what will happen is that you see it popped up all of these games over here. Now, what's the cool thing about this is that if you look over here, you see these categories right here in these columns. There's a new one called theme strength. This theme strength just gives you a relative sense, and also it really shows you how it casts that wide net. So I'm gonna use this second, I think the second game here for the example here. Now let's use. I just want to use. I just want to. You'll see why. I'll use this game here. This is the game I want to use. Now, black. Let me get my White is going to sacrifice his queen. Offer to sacrifice. Sacrifice it. Take the bishop. So what else we got going on here? Yep, sacrifice the queen again. So again, we are sacrificing as white, for the win. Again, I'm not really going to go through that game analyze. I just want to show you that had a score of 117. So let's scroll all the way down here to a game that has 22.5. Okay, so we look at, let's just play through this game here. Now we look at this game here. White sacrificed less material because he sacrificed a rook for the queen. And well, this is still roughly equal. But again, as the whole point, what I'm trying to say is this. I think that this is just my take on it. I think the theme score is based on how much material you sacrificed and how much material you would be down if it was accepted. In this case, you wasn't down a lot of material because it's about equal based on the two rooks. But how in the other one, you actually sacrificed your queen like twice or offered to sacrifice twice. So I'm just illustrating that using this strategy just creates a very wide net for you to just pull in some games to sift through and to see what you find. So that's just that. So again, that's really, really helpful. All right, so let's let me close this out. I just want to go back to here. Now we go up here to board. I'll show you a couple of more features here. Actually, before we go to that, before we move to the next feature, I got two more I want to show you. We're just gonna open, I think, let me see. Let me pick up one of these databases here. Is this can I use this one here? Yeah, we can use this test database here. Now, what I want to show you here is that we're not going to run these features, but I'm going to show you. You just click in here and click where the game's at and click Control A and you highlight all the games. If you right click, you can use style report and error report from any set of games. It doesn't have to be a specific player. You can say, go to the database and search, say, a specific opening you like to play. Like, for example, if you like to play the Caro-Kann, for example, you can look up the Caro-Kann and you can run a style report on that, and you can run an error report on that as well. So I'm gonna do more on those later because I think there's more to be found in the hidden inside of the style report and error report. But I just wanted to point that out. You don't have to go to the players. You can take any database of games and use the style and error report. You do not have to have Mega Database 2025. And let me see here. Another thing, I actually two more things I'm sure you three more things instead of two. The first one was just one. Another thing I want to show you guys, if you would just get the base level of Chessbase, and didn't get, say, Mega Database 2025, you still can search all the games online. So you still can come right here where it says on. Let me do that again. Right here where it says online. If you click this, up pops this database, and you can even click advanced. The search parameters are limited compared to what you can search for through Mega Database, but you still can search through millions of games somehow. So again, just because if you don't have to necessarily buy Mega Database and Chessbase 18 to get the full benefit from Chessbase 18. I just want to make sure that people know that. All right. On to the very last one. I thought, this is interesting here. This is, well, yeah, it's all interesting, but you'll see what I mean here. Now, just imagine you are traveling on a tournament and you have just some weak laptop. And in fact, not only that, you left your cord upstairs in your hotel room, you're downstairs, and you only got, say, 25% juice in your laptop's battery, but you really want to analyze a game or opening before you go into the next round or your tournament, or just maybe, regardless of that, just maybe you just got a weaker computer anyway, and you're really not satisfied with how well and how fast it calculates for you. what could you do without having to spend money on very serious hardware? Well, Chessbase 18 helps you solve that problem. Now, with Chessbase 18, everybody gets 1 year free Chessbase a code for the for all of their you know online features. Okay. So what that means is that you can use their online opening repertoire training, online play chess. You can use a lot of things. And one thing it includes, if we go up here to right here, if you want to add an engine, you can add a free cloud engine. Check this out. You go up here to add Kibitzer. You'll notice that one of these engines right here says remote engine. So if you click remote engine, click OK, it'll load up this remote engine. I may have to log in here. Yeah, because I did it upstairs. I've tested this out on my laptop upstairs. So, and it works quite well. Now I'll just hit stay logged in. We'll log in. All right, now check this out. So if you look here, this is the screen. Up top is the engines you can choose from. Now, if you go to see premium, you get more for free. Everybody, that's what it is. Everybody gets a code for a 1 year free premium account on Chessbase. So you can pick you pick the premium. You can pick whichever engine up here that's available. So we're gonna click Stockfish. You could pick some cases that people would spend money on certain engines here, because for example the free one has 2 cores. Well, anyway, we'll just go ahead and start this. We're not gonna go through all that, but it's just to say that you have a much stronger engine than say a weaker laptop, or if you don't have anything to use that has like a lot of power left on it, like a low battery, you could use this engine. So we start the engine. And there you have it. You see you got Stockfish 17, the remote engine playing. You got the buddy engine right here going, and you have everything at your disposal to analyze this game. So I really think that's a very useful thing to have included in the Chessbase Premium, where you got free access to a remote engine, because there is a lot of utility for something like that for lots of people. And one last thing I'll say before I go is that Chessbase, all the new features that they have added, from my opinion, really, again, cast a wide net on the players that can use Chessbase. Chessbase is, I know a lot of people that's really into chess, professionals and things like that, very high level players. But again, even people who are, not as, say 2,500, you don't have to be a high level person to get a lot out of Chessbase. And I think they've really, really done a lot to facilitate lower level players such as myself using Chessbase, and to be able to take advantage of the 11 million games and how to sift out the games and analyze these games. So with that said, this has been Chessbase 18. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed going through these new features. And anyway, I'll be back with some new videos soon. Gubcash versus Dean. We're going to analyze both of them for the World Championship match, and that's going to be pretty exciting. So anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.